Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and in this video, we're going to be going over 10 things that women should be doing for the man in their life. So I make a lot of videos telling you guys what you could be doing better when it comes to dating, but I think it's equally as important to understand what women should be doing in dating as well, and specifically here in a healthy relationship. So I came across this article from Evie magazine, and it's called 10 Things Real Women Should Be Doing for the Man in Their Life. So I want to go through it with all of you and give you guys a woman's perspective. I would love to hear what you guys think down in the comments. So let's get started. I don't really love this terminology of like real man, real woman. I did a video where I talked about red flags, and I think it's a red flag when a woman says something like a real man would take me to Cabo, or a real man wouldn't care about my body count. Things like that, I think it's a little bit manipulative, so I don't love the real men, real women terminology, but I'm gonna look past it, okay? So it says, we talk a lot about what real men should be doing to treat the women in their life well, but what should real women be doing for her man? We're all for calling attention to the kind of behavior, qualities, and treatment women should expect from the man in their life. Respectfulness, faithfulness, strength, thoughtfulness, sensitivity, and chivalry all come to mind. We should expect more than the bare minimum, you up texts, last-minute Netflix and chill dates, and zero commitment. But we can't forget that men aren't the only ones who should step up their game and treat the other with respect. We focus so heavily on how men need to mature, grow, and conduct themselves that we often fail to ever consider how women should be acting. I love this article already because this is the bread and butter of what I do on this channel of, men aren't the only ones who have things they need to work on, all right? Women aren't perfect. We got to step up our game as well. Just as women need to have standards when it comes to men, men also need to have standards. They deserve to find a woman who's willing to treat them well with love and respect. So what exactly should a real woman be doing for the man in her life? Number 1, supporting him. We all want to be with someone who believes in us, encourages us, and adds to our life rather than take away. It's important to make ourselves a voice in his life that will always be in his corner and support his endeavors, making him feel capable of anything he puts his mind to. Yeah, I totally agree with this one. I think support is a huge component of a healthy relationship from both people, obviously. Number 2, complimenting him. It's not just us ladies who like to hear, you look good. Sure, he doesn't spend a whole hour on his hair and makeup, but he'll always appreciate it if we comment on how nice his shirt looks on him, or that we're liking a new product he's using in his hair, or how bright his eyes are today. Take every opportunity to make him feel special. I think people get really complacent with compliments the longer that they're with someone. I feel like it's very common in the beginning to be like, oh my gosh, I love your sweater. Oh my gosh, your hair looks so good. Or to just be giving out compliments a lot more in the beginning, and then it kind of trickles off and doesn't happen as often. But I found that it's really special when you continue to do that throughout your relationship. I am always complimenting my fiance. I tell him like every day that I love his hair, I like his outfit. He's really into boots and watches, so I'm always complimenting those. And from a place of, genuinely complimenting. I wouldn't give a compliment just to give one. But I like to make him feel special too, because he does that for me. And I just think it makes your relationship a lot stronger when you both lift each other up and give each other compliments. And again, make each other feel special. Women aren't the only ones who like to hear compliments. I'm sure all of you that are watching, if you're a guy watching, love when your woman compliments you or when you get a compliment from a lady. So definitely agree. Number 3, letting him have guy time. If there's one thing we all love, it's a girls' night in with our best friends, watching movies and sipping wine and talking through the night. But when it comes to our boyfriend having guy time, many of us immediately squirm. We might be jealous for his attention or feel left out, but unless we have a valid issue with his friends, in which case he just needs better friends, we should encourage him to have time with his buddies, make sure not to fall into the possessive, ever-present girlfriend trap without meaning to. Yes, and this is something I mentioned in my red flag videos in the past of if she's getting very jealous or possessive over you or controlling, this is a red flag. So a girl who allows you to be your own person and have a little bit of space outside from just her, I think is very healthy and productive in a relationship. You guys don't necessarily need to be together 24/7, and I do think being your own person and being, independent is really important as well. So yes, I do agree, and I think it's important for both people in a relationship to have their own life outside of their partner. It's totally okay to enjoy doing things together. I would be concerned if you didn't and didn't want to spend time with them, but to have your own things going on too is really important. Number 4, taking interest in his hobbies. Even if his hobbies and interests are ones we wouldn't like on our own, we should try to see what he loves about them. So the next time he's playing a video game, ask him questions about it and root for him. Or sit down and watch the football game with him and cheer for his team. I do understand the aspect of respecting and trying to understand your partner's interests if they are outside from your own, like things that you don't like yourself. But like pretending to like something or just asking questions for the sake of, I don't know, making yourself seem a certain way, I don't think is necessarily productive. I think a lot of women, when you're dating them in the beginning, they will pretend to be interested in things that you like in order to seem like a cool girl. Almost being fake a little bit to pretend you're interested in someone else's interest when really you're not. I don't know. You guys can let me know what you think down below. But I do think it's really special when your partner comes to you and expresses interest in something or tells you about their hobbies. You should have interest in it, right? Like you should want to understand because you love that person and you obviously would care about the things that they're interested in and they're doing. It's a horrible feeling when you go to someone with something that you're excited about and they completely write you off or act like it's stupid or that they don't care at all. Like that is just a horrible feeling. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, but even with like a friend, if you tell your friend about something that you're excited about and they're like, oh, that sounds stupid or something like that, it makes you feel sad, right? Because they're your friend or they're your partner and you want them to be excited for you. So maybe that's kind of the mindset around this one of like being excited for your partner and, being interested in things that they are excited about or that interest them. Number 5 is dressing up for him. It makes us feel good to know that he put effort into his appearance for us, so let's return the favor. Surprise him by wearing a new dress, doing something different with your hair, or trying out another perfume on your next date, putting your best foot forward for him. I do think, and I know a lot of people, specifically women, will probably disagree with me, but I do think it's very important to show up for yourself and your partner and don't get lazy about this or complacent about this. Again, I don't want to make this seem like you need to be dolled up to the nines every day just to impress him, but I think a lot of the time when we're dating people for a long time, we get complacent and we get lazy and we don't put that effort in that we did in the beginning. And a lot of people say it's important to continue dating your partner throughout the term of your relationship, not just in the beginning. I also think the way that you show up and present yourself falls into that category as well. Like just because you've been together 3 years doesn't mean that you should be in sweatpants and looking horrible every single day. Like I think it's important to put effort into your appearance. This could also be, your physical well-being, like going to the gym and taking care of yourself. A lot of people let themselves go when they're in relationships, and I know that things happen. Women have children, and a lot of the time will gain a little bit of weight because of that, but I do think it's important to continue putting effort into your appearance, and not just for your partner, but for yourself. I think when you feel more confident and secure in yourself, it makes you feel that way about your relationship as well. So yes, show up for yourself, put in effort. I would say the same thing to all of you guys, men and women alike. I think putting in effort to yourself, your appearance, your physical and mental well-being, and your dating life is crucial for a long-term healthy relationship. Number 6 is respecting him. We all long to be respected by our significant other. It's essential that we show him healthy respect, whether by trusting his abilities to solve an issue instead of taking over, or talking him up when we're out with a group of friends, or valuing his perspective on a work problem we're facing. Let him know you think he's capable and you respect his abilities. Yes, and this topic here specifically reminds me of masculinity and femininity and the balance that needs to be there in a relationship, and also this idea that we should be submitting to our husband or our partner. I think people hear that and they get really freaked out, but I do think it says something when you trust your partner enough to lead you in a healthy and productive direction, whatever it might be. That's not saying you guys can't make decisions together, but I do think it's important to be with someone that you trust with big decisions in life. And again, as I mentioned, with this masculine and feminine energy that's in everyone and every relationship dynamic, finding the balance that works for you is really important. But I do think a lot of women have found themselves in this very masculine energy, masculine kind of frame, because they are working all the time and they carry that, energy that they have at work into their romantic relationships, or, they have this independent boss babe mentality where they don't want to depend on anyone or let someone do something for them out of fear of, owing something or doing something in return. This is a common thing I've been seeing among women in different threads online, also on TikTok. I've seen a lot of masculine, feminine energy TikToks, and women are seeing a huge shift within themselves when they are with a man who makes them feel masculine versus with a man who makes them feel feminine. And maybe I'll make a video about how to make the woman in your life feel more feminine. I know that in my current relationship, I feel incredibly feminine, and I think it has allowed me to grow and evolve in ways that I never thought that I would. And I can speak from personal experience too of when I was in relationships that made me feel very masculine, they were toxic and I was not happy. So again, I know not everyone is the same, we're all different, but I do think that this is something that is often overlooked. And a lot of the time it does come down to respecting your partner, and I would say that for both people involved. The next one is keeping it positive. It's not wrong to vent sometimes, but we should stay away from always being a source of negativity, especially because he likely has his fair share of woes already. Instead, try to be a person he can count on to feel better around, who creates positivity in his life. Yeah, this is something that I've mentioned a lot in red flag videos that I've done in the past, of this woman who, always speaks very negatively about people, or who is just negative in general, and how I would consider that a red flag and wouldn't recommend that you guys date a girl like that. So then on the contrary, a woman who speaks positively about others, or who is just positive in general and tries not to be a negative Nelly 24/7. Positivity is a very great trait to find in a woman. I would also say the same for men. Like, I would not want to be with a man who was complaining or negative all the time. It's very normal in a relationship to obviously talk things through and vent about things, but you don't want your partner to turn into your therapist, and you don't want to be overly negative, because that's just exhausting to be around. It's exhausting for you to consistently be negative, but also for the people around you. So yes, positivity, big one. Number 8 is thanking him. Yes, and before I even read this, I did a poll on my Instagram story asking you guys what are some green traits or green flags you look for in a woman, and the most submitted response was, she says thank you. And so many of you said you are shocked by how many women do not say thank you ever, or express gratitude, say if you pay for a first date or any date, or you buy her something. Like, women are just expecting this and feeling entitled to this, which it's baffling to me that the green flags we're looking for at this point are the bare minimum and common decency in a human, but whatever. So this says, a little recognition goes a long way. Make a point of expressing gratitude regularly, even for the little things like holding the door open, carrying your luggage, or offering his coat. And make sure he feels appreciated, recognized, and valued by singing his praises every now and then. Example, I've noticed how you're always willing to talk through whatever's been bothering me. Thank you for that. It means a lot. Yes. I think expressing gratitude and showing appreciation to the person that you're with is a crucial aspect of making sure that your relationship remains healthy and works out for the long term. Again, with the complacency and the laziness, people take the person they're with for granted. They don't appreciate them. They don't say thank you, and they don't realize what they had until it's gone a lot of the time. And again, as I mentioned with the submissions that you guys sent me, this is something that people aren't even doing from the start now. And I'm so sorry if I went on a date with someone and they did not say thank you after I paid for the meal. You're not getting a second date. I'm not going out with you again, because it says a lot about your character. So when I worked at my corporate job, I actually worked with a guy who was dating around and would obviously tell me about all of his dates. We were good friends at work. And he went out with this girl 4 times. And he said that he paid for the date every single date, 4 dates, and she never once said thank you. When he said that to me, I said, you should have told me that after date number 2, because I would have told you not even to go to date number 3. And obviously it didn't work out. And he was like, is it normal for women not to say thank you? Or like, should I be concerned about this? And I was like, yeah, that's very princess mentality, very entitled for someone to just expect you to pay for their meal 4 times and never once say thank you. Baffling. Number 9 is laughing at his jokes. Well, you gotta be funny. Whether or not he's a stand-up comedian, funny doesn't actually matter. Being the person who laughs at his silly jokes and quips will mean the world to him, especially if he doesn't get many pats on the back. He'll feel like you understand him on a deeper level just for giggling at his joke. You know what is so funny about this one? I wouldn't say like laugh at someone's joke if you don't think it's funny, because then you're just like kind of being fake a little bit. But when you really like a guy, I'll say this from a woman's perspective, even if they aren't really that funny or what they're saying is not that funny, you still laugh because you just think that they are the best and the bee's knees and everything they do is like the best thing ever. Obviously, there are men out there who are genuinely so funny regardless of what they look like or if you're even into them. But I do think when you really like a guy, when you're really into someone, you find them more funny because you just, again, think that they're the bee's knees. Number 10 is being honest. Aren't we all a little bit guilty of passively aggressively saying we're fine when we really have a long list of complaints and bones to pick? Well, it's time to stop making him guess what's really bothering us. Be kind but upfront the next time he asks you what's going on in your head. Honestly, it really hurt me when you said that. Can we talk about it? Yes. And this goes back to my point of your partner is not a mind reader, right? You have to be able to effectively communicate what you want and what you need from the person that you're dating. If you're always saying, oh, I'm fine, or nothing's wrong, or you're just expecting them to know how you feel 24/7 without actually communicating it to them, you're setting yourself up for disaster. And so many women specifically are so guilty of doing this. Even me in the past. I was little miss expecting you to be a mind reader. So what was interesting about this list is most of these are like opposites of what I normally have in my red flag videos. And some of these are also some points that I made in my green flag video that I just made recently. So yeah, I would agree with all of these. And I think a lot of these are sadly the bare minimum. It's funny because whenever I go through lists like this, my afterthought is typically something along the lines of, wow, the bar is really low. I mean, these are all really wonderful things to do for your partner, but to me, they're just like common sense. They're just like human decency. My point for this video was to really highlight some things that you guys should be looking for in women and to make sure that you have standards as well. I know our society is really harsh on men and we are always talking about what women want in men. My channel is specifically a woman's perspective a lot of the time on what women want in a man, but I think it's impossible to ignore that women need to be doing these things too, and we are not perfect, and I think it's important for both sides to take accountability and really try to make dating a little bit happier and healthier on both sides. Women are not the only ones who can do it, and men are not the only ones who can do it. We have to both be working on ourselves and doing it together. So if you guys like this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.